Hello, warriors. I hope you are in good health. I hope the exams are not taking a toll on you. Well, it's ICI, obviously, right? Anyway, by the time you watch this video, your CA inter costing exams would have got over, and you might have been taking a small amount of rest before you start your CA inter taxation paper. Yes, I know I don't want to take much of your time during this important hours, but I just wanted to shoot this small video for you to tell you how to prepare for your exam mentally and physically at the same time. Do something really well for you to score your exemptions. Trust me, exemptions are possible when it comes to taxation, at least. Yes, you have 4 papers in this first group. You definitely can score a good amount of exemption for you to boost your group 1 to also carry forward to your group 2. Or yes, for those people who are planning to do your group 2 in the next attempt and all those mechanicals and all those logicals, it doesn't matter. This small video will help you understand how you can prepare for yourself. What are the small mistakes which you do before your exams which cause you to lose marks in your exam, and that's not a good strategy to follow. Yes, in this video I'm not going to give you any hindsight about ABC analysis, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that, because honestly it never works. At least in my subject there can never be a topic which is not important, right? Unfortunately or fortunately, when it comes to taxation, every topic is linked to each other, and therefore no matter how much ABS analysis I give you, ICI loves to laugh at you, and so they will give you all those kind of questions coming from a weird topic only, right? So intention of today's video is not to give you any kind of tips on what topics to read and what topics to ignore. You by this time should have known about it better. If you still feel you have a challenges, feel free to message me and I can talk about it to you. What we're going to do in this video is we're going to tell you to split your strategy of preparation into 2 models. One is what you should do during your preparation time and what you should do during your exam time. Yes, I'm going to give you some tips and tricks. Again, no golden rules, nothing which is coming out of the blue. It is just some few nuggets which you should keep in mind when you're writing your exams at the same time when you're preparing for your exams, because these are the small things which if you miss out can cost you your attempt and can cost you your paper also. Yes, let's not do that. So what we're going to do in this video is simple short nuggets as to what you should follow for your exams. 2 places. Starting now, for the next 1.5 days, you have a good amount of time for you to prepare for both the subjects of direct tax and for indirect tax. By the way, this video can also be used for my CA final friends of direct tax. Logic is the same, nothing is changing, right? But keeping the focus specifically to my CA inter direct tax friends, you will have 2 subjects to prepare for your CA inter direct tax and indirect tax in a single paper. You have about 1.5 days for you to prepare that paper. Don't worry. I know it's voluminous. Yes, people otherwise would have come and told you direct tax is very voluminous, indirect tax is easy, this will take time, that will take time, everything is all okay. Yes, with me, if you would have done with me your journey of CA inter, you would have realized it by now that this paper of CA inter needs hardly 8 hours to complete. Yes, and nothing more than that. 8 hours in this whole 1.5 days is definitely affordable. The moment you give that 8 hours, balance papers, you can automatically spend more time. So you can spend more time on IDT preparation, come back to CA inter and then prepare once again also. You have a good amount of time to prepare in this 1.5 days. Trust me, it's possible. Nothing can be better. What are the few nuggets which I have for your preparation phase? First thing, please let go of your past. Please for God's sake, let go of your past. I have no idea what your CA inter costing was looking like, but to what I understand at this point of time, CA foundation, CA inter accounts was not good. Yes, it was lengthy, it was challenging, people lost marks. I know, it doesn't matter. Law was easy, costing most likely by the time I'm shooting this video, I have an hunch that it'll be tough, because obviously next attempt you don't have costing paper. So therefore, I mean, it's moving to group 2. So therefore I feel like it may be tough, but yeah, it's my thoughts. I'm not going to comment on that. My point is, it doesn't matter, people. Yes, at this point of time, do not give up because you've come this far. Just one more paper for your group 1. Trust me, tackle it. Please let go of what has happened in paper 1, paper 2 and paper 3. It doesn't matter. Even if you're planning to fail, it doesn't matter. Sit with this paper, because you may score an exemption. And who knows, if you were feeling that you'll fail in the other papers, just because of this paper, moderation may help you pass also. Yes, so please let go of your past. It doesn't work like that. You are not supposed to know anything of your past papers. Now, this is not just mentally, it is also physically. What do I mean by it, Rahul? When you start direct tax, what has happened in the paper, what is there in costing, was this concept done properly, was it not done properly, I think I did not put my number properly, my roll number is wrong, my name is wrong, my calculation is a mistake, it doesn't matter. Please understand, for you to digest the whole concepts of taxation needs you to space out the memory which you have in your head also. Okay, there is only so much which a memory brain can understand. So please, first of all, unlearn everything. Forget what you did in costing, accounts and law. It doesn't matter anymore. Unlearn what you have learned in your papers and come back and learn what is taxation. That's what the idea is. That's what the idea is. Please only focus on taxation paper. Forget everything else which is there around you. Take some time, unlearn everything. Go for a walk, enjoy something, drink a cup of tea, sleep if you want. But when you get back up, nothing of the costing should be in your head. You should only have taxation in your head. With that understanding is when you will be able to remember things and digest things. Too many subjects going on in your head will again cause you problems. So rule number 1, please let go of the past. Rule number 2, Rahul, this subject unfortunately requires multiple revisions. The one mistake which I see from most of my friends making in this exam is that they only prepare this whole subject once. I know there are some faculties also who do that. Yes, some faculties, when they're preparing this ABC analysis, they'll come and tell you, start from one day, first half of the day you do 5 topics, next day you do half topics, next day you do half topics. That's how they go, and they come and say, Rahul, one revision for every topic will help you. I'm sorry, no, it does not work like that. Understand, there is too much to remember in this subject, and if you need to have that memory space, it needs extensive amount of relearning it again and again. So whether it is direct tax or whether it is indirect tax, if you are planning to go with just a single reading before exams, in all likelihood you may not clear. Because memories and provisions may not be there in your head. It needs that minimum multiple revision concept logic from you. You need to have that much understanding. It takes that learning curve, people. Yes, first reading, you will see something coming to your head. Second reading, this will enhance further. Third reading, you'll automatically start realizing those items which you don't recall, and that's when you will be ready for the exam. So multiple revisions are important for your exams. At the same time, don't keep reading the same thing which you already know, okay, because then it's duplication. Learning curve works in the sense that you need to have something in the hand for the first go. Second go, you forget, you leave whatever you already know, and then you focus on things you don't know. Third learning, you again compile everything and see which you still don't understand. That is how a learning curve happens. Don't keep wasting time on doing the same thing again and again and again, because it is not helping you. If you know the provision, you know the provision. If you don't know the provision, start over. That's what the idea is. For you to help on your full revisions and multiple revisions, the marathon chapter wise has been uploaded in the YouTube channel of mine. Feel free to see the whole marathon once for a comprehensive reading. Second time, only focus on those chapters which you feel is not comfortable to you, and again do a marathon. Then again come back and do those chapters which you don't understand. Automatically 8 hours will come down to 3 hours, will come down to 1 hour, will come down to 10 minutes. That's what the idea is. Only then can you be strong on the concepts, because in exam premises you will not be given the time to think. We will come to that part as well. Yes, so multiple revisions is a must. Cannot compromise on that. Please focus on multiple revisions. I hope you are there with me till here. Yes, next most important thing from exam perspective, 1.5 days is enough only for what you know. Do not start anything new at this point of time. This 1.5 days is not for you to prepare, but for you to revise. Understand the difference. You cannot sit and prepare something at this point of time. The only thing which you can do is revise at this point of time. If you have not covered a concept, please let it go. Do not touch that concept, because for you to understand the concept, apply the concept, practically orient the concept will take a good amount of time. You may end up losing time which you could have used for other things. Please let go of things. Trust me, I know it is important to read for 100 marks. I know it definitely is important to read for 100 marks. But if the amount of efforts which you're going to put for that extra 4 marks is going to impact your balance 96 marks, trust me, it is not worth it. Let go of the 4 marks. It's okay to take a chance. Trust me. You and I at this point of time, if you're watching this video, is not impacting yourself for a rank. Definitely. most of the citizens who are watching right now are looking for something to score an exemption, maybe pass also. Yes, for both of us, we both know we are not planning for 100, which means don't focus on that also. Okay, focus on what you know, improve on what you can improve. Don't try something new. This is not the time for it. This is not the time for it. If you had something, it should have been done in the past. If not, don't regret it right now. Focus on the glass being full rather than being the part which is empty, not the idea to do. Yes, so third rule, which is for you, please don't start something new. It will impact your preparations at this point of time. I hope we are together. Step number 4, please focus on amendments. The paper of mine is more impactful because of the fact that we have amendments every time. Yes, and ICA loves to play with amendments because next year it becomes useless. So therefore, any subject which you have, whether it is direct tax, indirect tax, international tax, it doesn't matter. If you have amendments in the current attempt, please give special weightage to it. My recommendation, put out a sheet of amendments day before exam, exactly before you enter the exam premises. You will have 10 minutes or something to prepare. In that 10 minutes, focus on the amendments. Focus on the amendments. You will see a big amount of sums coming from the amendments, especially for the fact that it is November syllabus. If it is May syllabus also, they may have ignored something, but the fact that it is a November attempt, whatever amendments were not tested in May also gets tested once again. So therefore, you will see an n number of amendments coming in MCQs and in written papers. Please to focus on your amendments. You can score hefty amount of marks in that. I'm not promising you that it will be more than 10, 15 and all, but past examination weightages, I've seen 8 to 10 marks coming from amendments itself. Okay, focusing on amendments, you can easily score good amount of marks. Please to focus on that. Please to focus on that. Amendments become significantly important for you. In my classes and all, you would have seen what the amendments are. We would have highlighted it together. In case you have not done it, any other faculty has prepared for it also. Please do work on it. If you don't even know, don't worry. In the marathons which you have, any marathon which you see, you will find green colorings. Those green colorings are your amendments. Please to focus on those amendments. Those are important from exam purpose. Next thing. The one issue which I see from most of the students at this point of time is that students feel this is the right time to solve sums. No. Do not sit and solve sums. Logic is same as above. You do not have the time for it, people. Trust me, there is no time for it right now. If you need to cover at least 2 to 3 revisions, you need that space for you to only prepare for provisions. Do not sit and solve sums. If you are wasting time in solving sums, you are only doing those things which you already know, and you're only duplicating your efforts. You're wasting time which you could have utilized for memorizing other things. Do not sit and solve sums. If you have already done some papers in the past, good for you. That would have already answered you things. Feel free to see your old papers and see what mistakes there were made. That you can do. But sitting and solving questions at this point of time is not the strategy to follow. You will end up losing your revision time and you will end up losing marks there. Okay, so please do not sit and solve papers. It's not the time to do it. Feel free to see any papers which have answers in it and go through the answers just to be careful. Maybe RTPs, MTPs, please feel free to see the paper, but do not touch them unless and until your 2 to 3 revisions are done. Only after you're completing your revisions and you feel you have sufficient time from both the papers, feel free to go back and do those things. But otherwise, please do not touch any sums at this point of time. You will not be helping yourself. You'll only be wasting your time for things. Yes. Last and the most important thing which I wanted to clarify to you, for CA Inter alone, not for CA Final, for CA Inter alone, trust me, both papers are important, people. I have never seen a single exam where sometimes both the papers have come easy or both the papers have come tough. Very rarely it happens. It so happens that someday I say I would love to play with you and Inter tax will be tough, whereas IDT will be easy. Or IDT will be easy and Inter will be tough, or both will be equally tough. Do not at this point of time take a chance on any one of the paper. If you feel like, Rahul, direct tax is 60 marks, therefore I will touch only direct tax, I will get 60 in the 50, trust me, you're being very optimistic. Getting 60 in the 50 is a big achievement for me also. You may not be able to do that. Same logic works for IDT. Paper itself is 40 marks. No matter how hard you try, you will only get 30, 35, maybe some amount here and there. Any one paper focus will take your attempt. Both the papers are important. Yes, if you have not learnt the paper, there will be some topics which you know in both the papers. Focus on those topics, but do not give special focus to only one subject. You will lose marks there. Both are important. Both are equally important. These are the 6 nuggets which I had for your pre-exam. Quickly revising it, I'm saying let go of the past, do multiple revisions, bare minimum 2 to 3 of both the subject. Trust me, it is possible. When you came from your exam hall, you took some rest, evening you can do 1 revision, next day morning you can do 1 revision, day before exam 1 revision. Easily possible, because IDT also there is not much concepts. DT, if you do my marathon, you will definitely be able to crack it off. Yes, so you'll be able to easily crack 3 revisions. Also, for the fact that you're not going to read the same subject again and again. Yes, for those topics which you already know, second time revision, you're not going to do that topic. So which means automatically times are coming down. So easily it's possible to complete 3 revisions. Please go with that confidence. Because in exam hall, what you see in the first go is what the answer is. If you cannot recall in the first go, you will never be able to answer it, and that's not a way to go. So please have those things in mind. Or at least 3 revisions. Bare minimum. Next, don't start anything new, because this is not time to do it. Focus on amendments, because you will carry equal amount of marks and a good amount of marks from that amendments. Avoid building any sums right now. Focus more on concept clarity. MCQs are anyway not going to come from sums. They are only going to come from concept building. The more concepts you know, the more MCQs you can answer. Last, please answer both the papers. Both the papers are equally important. Don't leave a single paper and go. You will lose marks where you could have scored well. There are some concepts easy in both the subjects. You can never let go of those concepts, people. Don't not focus on any paper. If with this strategy you have confidently built your pre-exams, which means your 1.5 days preparations have gone well, there are some nuggets which I have for your exam days also. More than your pre-exam, these are important. The reason is very simple. You may have focused and worked hard for the last 6 months, but what comes on your paper is what ICI looks at. ICI does not know how many efforts you have put or how many struggles you have gone through. What you present in the paper is what ICI knows, and so their presentation makes an impact. So the next set of rules is the most important for you to keep in mind when you write your exams. What other rules are? First rule, analyze the questions to attempt. Okay, you have been given this 15 minutes read time, not for you to start solving sums. I'm sorry, that's not the idea. The 15 minutes is actually a golden period for you. That 15 minutes can make and break your attempt, because in that 15 minutes you need to decide to yourself which is that extra question which you do not want to answer. Whether it is direct tax or it is indirect tax, it doesn't matter. Both the subjects have one compulsory question along with multiple questions, in which one question can be let go. Your 15 minutes is for you to sit and analyze which question should not be attempted, which means questions which are mandatory, like MCQs, like compulsory questions, should not be touched in the 15 minutes. Please do not touch them, for God's sake. Use the time for understanding which of the other questions are you strong about, which of the questions you are not strong about. Then focus on which questions you want to attempt. That is what the idea is. Mark it in the 15 minutes itself so that you know. And the reason I'm telling you this is because in that 15 minutes, ICI anyway does not give you the answer sheet also. They only give you the question paper. So the only thing which you have in your hand is question paper. Focus and analyze which question to answer first. Now, this can be in any combination. People have this mindset that, Rahul, I should first do IDT, then I should do DT, or I should do DT first and then I should IDT first. It doesn't matter, people. Trust me, in exams for taxation, you're given 2 different booklets. You're given one booklet separately for DT, one booklet separately for IDT. It is important for you to answer. That's what the idea is. Whether you do DT first or IDT first, you do one sum of DT, one sum of IDT, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, both are today's paper only. So feel free to attempt any kind of question in any sequential order. It doesn't matter as long as you follow the sequence properly. Sequence meaning 4A, 4B, 4C. That's how the idea is. You should never go 4A, 5B, 3C. It doesn't work like that. Do 4, complete the 4. Do 4 in IDT, complete the 4 in IDT. Then you can proceed forward. That's what the idea is. Booklets are anyway different. So feel free to make and match. Doesn't matter, but please effectively use that 15 minutes to to understand what question to answer. In that same 15 minutes, what I also wanted to do is to find out which question are you most confident about. That question should be your starting point. Yes, if you figure out that question which is the most important for you, you automatically understand which a question can impress the examiner, and so you always start with that question. Now, whether it is DT or IDT, both logics are the same. Figure out that question which is the most important for you, and then prepare your sequence. The best question of yours, followed by the next question, followed by the next question, followed by the next question. That's all the sequences. The more you impress the examiner in the first go, the more marks you get. First impression is always the last impression. Yes. So always start with a question which you can confidently attempt. Whether it is DT, whether it is IDT, doesn't matter. Trust me, it boosts your confidence also. When you are able to solve one question confidently and with full attention, you automatically get that confidence to even do better for the next questions. Yes, so automatically boost will come out. Never start in the same sequence, because then if you do not answer a question or the answer does not come out right, you will lose track. You will lose track. So always start with a question which is most significant to you. Next, and the most important thing for me to know is, please do not touch your compulsory question or your case study question the first. Now, I may take a deviation from all the other faculties who may come and say, Rahul, if you feel case study is confident, do it. If you feel your compulsory is confident, do it. I would say no. The reason is very simple, people. From my past experiences, at least, I have noticed ICA will never give you a case study question or a compulsory question which is short in length. It will always be a lengthy question. You will waste time there. Yes, and when you have just started the exam premises, you are all enthusiastic, which means you want to do everything perfect. And if you're sitting and doing something perfect in case study and compulsory, you are wasting time. Please understand, every subject has a compulsory question, and every compulsory question has a certain amount of marks, which only is 14. If you are spending on that 14 marks 1 hour or 1.5 hours of time, your paper is already gone. You have lost marks there because you have not attempted the other questions. Case study question and compulsory question are supposed to eat up time, because they are prepared in such a way. They come with challenges, they come with tricks, they come with analysis, which is where you waste a lot of time. So please avoid solving these questions. I'm not telling you to keep it to the last. I'm also telling you not to keep it to the first. Do it somewhere in the middle if you feel like you're confident. Do it somewhere in the very end if you feel like you don't have time. But please do not touch it in the first go itself. If you start with that question in the first go, you will end up wasting time in the first logic itself. These questions are best attempted when you are in a pressure of completion, because that time you think less, you try to write more, you try to achieve more. So therefore, these kind of questions will be done way better when you're doing your case study questions. I mean, when you're doing short of time, that time these questions will do extremely better. Never attempt these questions in the first go. My past experiences, I have never seen a person getting a good amount of marks if you have attempted the first question properly. Yes, never happens. Rule number 3. I don't know for what reason people have missed this rule and they don't understand this policy. Please note, ICA has no negative markings when it comes to inter and final for your MCQs. For what joy, I don't know, do you leave MCQs and come is what I don't understand. Yes, I know you may not know the answer, but it doesn't matter. There is any 4. Anyone can be right. Yes, even if you don't know the answer, if you have not even read that provision, it doesn't matter, people. Give it a shot. Doesn't matter. You've seen this comedies and all, no, where the number will be 1001. But the MCQ options will be 30, 40, 50 and all. They will choose the least option or the nearest option. It doesn't matter. Try it out, people. Never leave an MCQ in exams and come. Your weightage can impact. You never know, people, how lucky you are. Yes, you never know how lucky you are. You may have given wrong assumptions for everything. You may have got a wrong answer everywhere. But if you have found an answer similar and you have marked it, for some reason, if that answer was right, you will get a full mark. Because the best thing about an MCQ is you don't even have to give a working note. You don't even have to prove anyone that why you got the number. Yes or no? Yes. Please do not leave an MCQ and come, people. Focus on the MCQ. See the MCQ, write the answer, go forward. You don't know the answer, also pick an option and go forward. As long as there is no negative markings, you will anyway be losing marks. If you are lucky enough that you were able to score a mark, you might score a mark. It will just add to your points, people. Yes, think that logic very carefully. No, I have seen so many of my students and all unnecessarily leaving an MCQ because they did not even know about it. Trust me, I don't care. I would not come and complain to you that you've done all the MCQs wrong. I would rather be happy that you've attempted it. Right? Because even if you didn't know, even if I didn't know whether you knew the logic or not, somehow you got the option right and I gave you full marks. That is all is important, no, people. Don't leave MCQs. That's a bigger thing to keep in mind. Never leave MCQs. This is costing you your marks. Your half mark. Imagine 30% of your marks coming in MCQs. If your luck works out well and you get that 30%, life is anywhere else. You may end up scoring exemption also because of this. You don't know. Yes, do not leave MCQs, please. Write your MCQs. Even if you don't know, try it out. It's okay. Just mark something and come. Pray to God that it will come to you. Maybe it will come to you also. You don't know. Maybe it will come to you. Don't know. Try MCQs. Do not let it go. Next logic. This is for specifically those people who are not able to complete your papers on time. I'll tell you the reasons. The reason is only one. The reason is only one, that the paper, when you started, you were very lethargic. You were giving more time than any question than it was required. You were never able to complete a paper on time because you never gave the right weightage to it. I have a very simple logic. This is what I follow. Notice that for your exams, you have 180 minutes. How much? You have 180 minutes, and this 180 minutes is for 100 marks. Yes. I always come and tell my students, in this 180 minutes, the last 30 minutes is not for you to write. It's for you to cover up. The last 30 minutes is not for you to write, it's for you to cover up, because that time you're in extreme pressure. Your paper is running, your handwriting is worst, you don't care. At this point of time, you only want to grab marks. You're in attacking position already. Yes. So which means ignore the 30 minutes. Ignore the 30 minutes. You have now come to 150 minutes. Now you have 150 minutes to conquer 100 marks. Which means per mark you have 1.5 minutes. And this is what you need to follow. Trust me, you have to follow this. I'll tell you why. Let's assume that you're in question number 1. Now question number 1 is 14 marks. Now keeping the 1.5 logic, you have about 22 minutes to solve this paper question. Now think about it carefully. If you are starting with this question the first, 100% possible you will never score it within 22. You will at least take 30 to 35 minutes. Now, when you're taking this 30 to 35 minutes, understand very carefully that 35 minus 22, the 13 minutes is a borrowed time. You've taken it from another sum. Because of you taking it from another sum, you have never been able to score that sum. Which means by the time you come out of the exam hall, you automatically know that you have lost that 13 minutes for some other sum. 13 minutes means in a 1.5 system, you're almost about, let's say, almost about 6 marks. Fairly 6 marks. You've easily lost 6 marks here itself, only because you tried to attempt 14 marks. Now understand, this 14 marks would have maximum been 13 or 12 had you completed on 22 minutes. If you had completed in 22 minutes, this number would have at best been 13 or 14, not more, maybe 11 or 12. You would have still lost only 3 marks. Whereas on the other side, you lost 7 marks or 6 marks only because you borrowed their time. This is the one issue why people do not complete their paper on time. My rule is very simple. Initially, when you are starting a paper, you are enthusiastic, you want to do everything perfect. Perfection is not the answer. Clock yourself, 1.5 minutes per mark is the way to go. At that 1.5 minutes, ask yourself, Rahul, will it take exactly 1 more minute for me to do? If yes, do it. If it is going to take anything more than 1 minute, leave the question and move to the next one. You will come and ask me, Rahul, you're giving me wrong tips. Why should I leave the question? I'm giving a wrong impression. You're not giving a wrong impression, people. Understand, if you have followed this strategy, by the time you complete your whole 100 marks, it is only 2.5 hours. Now you are in extreme pressure to complete your paper and you have 30 minutes left. In that 30 minutes, you will now come back to those questions and you will try to figure out what was the answer. And at this point of time, the thinking capacity is already exhausted, which means what you know is what you write. If you don't know, you scratch it out. That's how it goes. Which means what you could have done in that 30 minutes is complete the whole 100 marks paper, whereas here you would have spent that extra 13 minutes. This extra 13 minutes would have only given you 2 marks, whereas that 2 marks you scored in that 30 minutes along with other questions also. Think about it. That is what the logic is. Please only figure yourself for 1.5 minutes per mark. Start with that understanding. Put yourself in the pressure. Complete the question in that 1.5 minutes. Great. Don't complete the question. Buffer 1 more minute. Beyond that 1 more minute, stop the question. Leave the question. Move ahead. That extra space which you left is only going to carry you 2 marks, which can be conquered by you after you come back from the 30 minutes. So please let it go. You will be able to find extra time somewhere, people, because some places you have MCQs also, and MCQs will be cut MCQs. Some MCQs will be straightforward MCQs. There and all, you can complete the MCQ in 30 seconds, 1 minute and all. There 1.5 minutes of extra time is being saved for you to come back and write it later. Yes, focus on completing your paper to your satisfaction. I'm telling this because a lot of people come back to me and they come and say, Rahul, I know the paper for 100 marks. I was very confident that if I was given time, I would have given it for 100 marks. But the paper was lengthy enough because of which I only wrote for 60 marks or 70 marks. And by the 60, 70, you're already failed. You're already failed. Trust me, 60, 70, you cannot never get 40. You can never get 40. ICA has their own games to play. Yes. So notice, this is not an issue because the paper was lengthy. This is an issue because you did not manage your time properly. Had you managed your time as compared to another rank holder which is sitting on next to you, he would have completed the paper in the 2.5 hours and would have been spending the time to do something else, ready to let go of the 10 or 12 marks which is coming later, because he was more focused on getting that 80. For him, that 80 was more important than the 10 and 12, and therefore that is where the significant change comes between you and a rank holder. Follow the strategy. Only focus for 1.5 minutes per mark. After that, stop working on it. You will not be able to score anything beyond it. Come back to it after you have the 30 minutes left. That time you will be able to score very good. Trust me, I'll tell you, very good. You will be shocked about you that the same answer which you did not know, later on you're writing the same answer because you are in a pressure. Very, very important rule from your exam perspective. Never work on borrowed money. Never work on borrowed time. Always work on your capitalization. That is what the whole idea is. Clear? Yes. Last two things for you to go. Think less, people. Think less. Your thinking capacity stopped the moment you enter the exam premises. The reason why you did multiple revision is because to have a photogenic memory where you were able to remember every single provision page wise, which means today what you know in your head is what the final answer is. Beyond that, no matter how hard you struggle, no matter how much you break your head or you tap your head on the floor, it doesn't matter. You will never be able to find an answer. Yes, the one mistake which many people do in income taxes, the moment they see a new adjustment or the moment they see something coming out of syllabus, they will get all hyper. They will stop everything and they will take the next 10 minutes just to understand what is being told and then to understand and write what is being answered. No, please understand, there is only one logic to exams. What you know is what the paper is. If you have gone into an exam hall and you don't know the answer in the first link, you saw the question, you saw the answer, that's how the answer is. If you could not find the answer in the first go, it is only because of two reasons. Reason number one, the question was wrong. Reason number two, the question was out of syllabus, and that's it. There can never be a reason number three saying you don't know, because it doesn't help. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. That's how the logic is. You can never find out an answer on a later stage. It will never come to you because you've never read it. Even if you try to recollect saying, Rahul, don't know, I remember reading it in some page, let me try to mug up my whole page and come back again and think where it was. Trust me, you're wasting time. In exam, it's very simple. You see an adjustment, you know the answer. You don't see an adjustment, either it is wrong or it is out of syllabus. If it is out of syllabus in direct tax, answer is very simple. It is exempt from tax. That is one rule which I tell my students also. If you see an income which is coming from a weird source, you tell it is exempt. If you see an investment happening in a weird source, it is 80C. If you see any kind of transfer of a capital asset happening from a weird source, it is exempt. That is what the logic is. There are only some investments to keep in mind. There are nothing more to keep in mind. Balance, everything you see is always exempt from tax because it is not there in the book also. It's not there in your book. It might be there in the study material. It doesn't matter. It is not there in your book, which means you have never read it, which means for you it is out of syllabus, and that is what the idea is. Do not sit and think about it in the exam hall, scratching your head, coming and saying faculty did not teach me, I did not learn, I could have done better in life, I should have not done CA, life is bad, this is miserable, existential crisis going on, maybe my home is not doing well, something is going wrong at my home, nalika Shinchan varoma varada, Doraemon varoma varada. Not the place to do an exam. In exam, there is only one simple rule. You see the question, you know the answer. You don't know the answer, you let go of the answer. You write whatever you want regarding the answer. If it comes right, you are great. If it does not come right, it doesn't matter. You have still scored the enough mark for that question. Borrowing time from some other question to deliberate about this answer will carry you marks for your attempt. Will lose you marks for your attempt. Do not do that. Follow the strategy, people. These two things is what I feel is the most important for any person in an exam premises who is not able to clear. Because he is either wasting time and borrowing time from another sum, or he is wasting time thinking too much in the exam premises. Don't do that. last and the most important thing, specifically for my subject, you need to justify everything you know, people. Yes, justify yourself to the extent possible in the paper. Do not just solve sums. This paper might look practical, but actually it is a theoretical paper also. ICA is not bothered about your final answer. It carries mark, I don't deny it, but it carries only 1 mark. Your predominant marks comes only from the assumptions you write, the notes you prepare, the provisions you deliver. Trust me, taxation Puerto Rico, it is not practically possible for every person to get the final answer right. Generally does not happen, because there'll be this one small adjustment which will take a toll on you. So you will lose marks in the final answer. And if you're only focusing on the final answer, you are definitely supposed to lose. Yes, focus on writing the provisions properly. Tell the examiner that, sir, I may have not prepared well, but I know what I have done. I am here not to mug up the subject. I'm here to tell you that if you give me the opportunity as a qualified CA, I will deliver it to you. That is what an examiner is looking from you. Okay, examiner from a paper is not going to figure out whether you are a good mug up guy or not. The person is trying to figure out whether you are capable to be a CA or not. And therefore ICA loves to give you out of syllabus questions, because they want to see how you react to it, right? Please figure out and understand the fact that explaining every single thing is important. ICA should get the logic that yes, this person knows what he's talking about and has not copied it from another person just for the sake of doing it. Explain every single item to the examiner. Tell them why you have done it, what you have done it. Everything in your head is on the paper. That is what the idea is. Don't leave anything for the assumption of the examiner. If you feel that the examiner will assume and understand what you were trying to assume, no, it will not happen. No, it will not happen. Examiners are not qualified people enough to test your paper and correct your paper properly. They only go by the book, which means if your book has the adjustment, they will give you marks. If book does not have an adjustment, you will not get the marks. Simple, straightforward logic. Yes, every single assumption you made, every single analysis you made, every single provision you thought about, everything should be on the paper as it is. As it is. Use the same heading or English which you had in your head also, doesn't matter, but use that logic. Please jot it down on your paper. Never leave anything for the assumption of examiner, because if you are assuming marks from the examiner, examiner is assuming concepts from you. He is assuming that you don't know the subject, you are assuming he doesn't know the subject, both are fighting with each other. At the end of the day, you lose marks. Don't do that. Don't do that. It is your paper. You have to justify it to yourself. Keep the ego of the examiner on your mind. Satisfy him to the best extent possible. Write every single thing. Every single thing. Nothing should be left out. Every single assumption, every single working note, every single logic, every single computation should be on the paper, so that tomorrow if someone wants to read your paper, it should be looking like you have prepared a study material yourself. It should look like you know what you're talking about and you know what you have written. That is what the idea is. Even if it takes time, it doesn't matter, people. Trust me, it doesn't matter, because that assumptions can carry you marks over the final answer. If the final answer is wrong, you're anyway going to lose full marks. Might as well write your assumptions and get step marks around it. Steps are there in income tax. You do get marks for your steps only if the steps are there. Don't put everything on the calculator and come and say, Rahul, final answer came in calculator, I put the number. You will definitely not get a mark. You will definitely not get a mark. And I'm telling this from my personal experience. I was the kind of person who in my CA Inter got not even a single answer right in direct tax. But I still scored 66. The reason is because whatever I wrote, I know what I wrote. I justified everything which I wrote and I was able to practically prove it to everyone. That is where I got 66, even though I got a full answer wrong. Every single number was wrong in the thing because my calculator was not working. I still scored 66 in my paper because every single step which I wrote did make sense to the exam. Focus on that. Last thing for you. Please don't worry about your English. I know people are not qualified English. We are not Shakespeare people here. Okay. We are not Shakespeare. No one is expecting you to write every single English cut to cut. At the same time, please don't be very colloquial also. Okay, keep a justified English. When I say justified English, obviously in school times and all, they would have taught you some basic English. This is to be allowed, is okay. Okay, I will allow this is not okay. Yes, don't be authoritative, don't be very commanding, don't be very straightforward also. Okay, use simple, decent English, because trust me, person who's reading a paper is also a human. Think what would happen had you read the paper. If you had read the paper and someone would have talked that rudely to you, trust me, you would have thrown the paper. Same thing will happen that side. I am not expecting a Shakespeare English out of you, but I'm still expecting a simple, decent English out of you. Decent in the sense, don't use big fancy words, but at least use those words which are polite and at the same time can make an examiner understand what your logic is. Yes, keep that logic and then write a paper. Keep that logic and then write a paper. You will definitely be able to score a really good mark, and I'm very sure about it. I'm very sure about it. Every single person watching this video or any of my students who have done it in the past, we've also discussed these strategies in the past as well. There is nothing new which I'm telling you. You would have realized it by now also. Yes, so there is nothing new which I'm telling you, but these are small things which you tend to miss out, and that miss out cost you marks. Focus on those things when you're writing your exams, and you will, trust me, do a very good job. For the fact, anything which I told you right now is not something which is new for direct tax. It is the same logic for any subject also. If you try applying this to any other subject also, you will score the same marks, trust me, and that is the way to go. That is the way to go. ICI, like I told you, is not testing you on your memory skills. It's testing you on how good of a person you are. They want to see how can you adapt yourself to a challenging atmosphere, and so these kind of challenges are thrown up to you. It is your responsibility to stand up on the challenge and tell them that yes, I am a smart person, I am qualified to be a CA. I may not memorize the provisions right now, I may not remember the provisions right now, but that does not mean that you want me to memorize it in the future also. In future, I will get a book in my hand and I will solve from there. It is my analysis which makes an impact, and so therefore look at my analysis. ICA believes that. ICA believes that. So even though you curse ICA and you come and say ICA is this, ICA is that, they're not giving me marks, they're failing me and all those things, it doesn't matter. Focus on proving yourself. If you prove your worth, ICA will give you marks. That is how the logic is. There is no second thought about it. Yes, we are short out of time. We are almost about 40 minutes. So I'm going to stop the lecture. I'm going to stop the video here. I don't want to waste any more time, people. In case you have found this video exciting and nice, please leave a thumbs up. Let me know if you need any kind of suggestions, any kind of recommendations. Feel free to drop in your comments and let me know if you have any kind of other opinions about this, or if you have any kind of further questions. I'll be happy to come forth and let you answer those. See you there soon. I wanted to see you all in finals very soon. Trust me, from all the students which I have already had, there is no second thought. If you do clear CA Inter Direct Tax, please drop me a message and let me know how it was for you. And I am expecting a treat out of you, because yes, young faculty, we are all young to each other. So you are going to be a qualified CA as much as I am right now. It is just a matter of time. Stick with that time. Focus on the journey process. You will reach there. You will reach there. The time you reach CA final, the time you come back to me, the time you qualify and come back to me, trust me, there will be no difference between you and me. You may call me sir right now, you will call me Rahul tomorrow, and that's what the idea is. I want you to feel like a deserving CA starting today. That is what the idea is. Feel like a deserving CA. Feel like you are proud to be a CA. Feel like you want to be a CA, and you will automatically get there. There is no second thought about it. Focus on the journey, people. I'll tell you this because I have qualified CA 5 years back, and today I regret about the times when I not enjoyed my life. Okay, don't be me. Don't be me. Enjoy your life to the fullest. These exam days may be threatening, but tomorrow you will actually feel the pain for here only. You will feel that kind of loneliness to not have this exam premises. So please go to an exam premises with a smile. Enjoy what is happening. Whether you fail or you pass, this journey will never come back to you. Right? So enjoy the moment as much as you can, because this is a precious moment for your life journey. Tomorrow you will build stories around this for your kids also. Yes, so build stories right now, build memories right now. Don't focus too much on failure. It will automatically subside, whether right now or in the future. It doesn't matter. Yes, on this note, I will sign off from today. I will see you all soon after the exams, as well as in your final classes. Take care, people. Have a great day.